right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am, of course, joined by Ged. Ged, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Yourself?
Hey, man, I can't lie. It really was a great day. Not only is it double Star Wars Day, but
It is double Star Wars Day.
The man himself was on the Pat McAfee show this afternoon and confirmed his intent to play for the New York Jets. And
are they planning on getting like a separate ramp? I mean, based on his age, like he's going to need like a lot of accessibility help. So, are they planning on
40's the new
like wheelchair
40's the new 20, my
ramps,
friend?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, if you could go watch the tape. I know the numbers were down a little bit. He also had the hand issue, but there's a couple throws he made that
It's called arthritis. It comes when you're that
There's
old.
a couple throws that probably only like a handful of quarterbacks active in the league right now could probably make. So like he still got it. And he's bitter. He's bitter as hell, man. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder. He's pissed that Green Bay decided to move on from him without really telling him. So now he wants to stick it to him.
Green Bay kind of has that effect on people. You know, all joking aside, this is a great move for the Jets. The Jets are not, obviously, for those of you that don't know, I'm a big Bills fan, so Tyler and I have a lot of banter back and forth when it comes to football season, but this is a great move for the Jets.
You know what? The only thing I'm not looking forward to,
he's going to get the best parking spot because he's going to get that wheelchair one right up front.
You know, as a Jets fan, I know everything just ends in flames like the Hindenburg. So I'm not like expectations not there, but like I remember Sanchez's second year coming off the AFC Championship game. I was at the bar wearing a Sanchez jersey, and someone had the nerve to come up to me and call me a bandwagon fan, and that is one of the most enraged moments I've ever been in my life. I'm like, do you understand how torturous it is to be a Jets fan through and through?
Yes, and now I'm a Bills fan. I know exactly what it's like.
Yeah, to finally start like have something positive happen, and then someone call you a bandwagon. Oh, and that's what's going to happen now. Everyone who is a Rodgers fan, and then all the Fairweather fans are all going to pile on if the Jets start winning, and I'm going to be lumped in with them. But it is what it is. I'll still be there when the team explodes and
when he blows out his ACL and no, I understand.
All right, on to bigger things here, at least for the time being. Mandalorian. So let's start there. Third episode, 50+ minute runtime, which is great.
On runtime.
Another new director. I normally have the director's names handy, but I don't have it handy with me, so that is my bad. I will maybe look that up as we're talking.
I noticed it was a new director.
Yeah, so there's quite a few new ones this season, I think. So we start off with a pretty cool dogfighting spaceship chase that was alluded to in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see the Gauntlet Starfighter, do its thing a bit, which is kind of nice to see because so far all we've ever seen is it parked. And, so it's nice to see it in action. And obviously the return of TIE Interceptors to live action. And the Interceptor has always been my favorite Imperial fighter. Obviously loving Return of the Jedi as my favorite movie. So very much excited to see that. I can't believe the sequel trilogy didn't have a ton of TIE Interceptors, but it is what it is.
It's such a great ship.
Yeah. So to see a whole swarm
I would go on a limb and say that Lee Isaac Chung did a good job putting those in there.
Oh, that was the director?
Yeah.
Nice. So we get so the episode essentially picks up right where we left off, which was kind of good. And Bo's like, "Did you see anything? Do you see anything?" So she was making sure she kept that secret to herself. You know what I mean? That he didn't know, because I think, if someone was to conquer, the Darksaber is one thing about leading the clans, but if someone was to, tame the Mythosaur, I think that
even to see the Mythosaur.
Yeah, I think that surpasses anything the Darksaber could do, right? So I think Bo secretly has a way to the throne in her mind, and she's going to hold that card in her back pocket. What do you think about that?
I think so. It also answers our question last week from, was he pulled or did he fall? And he definitely fell.
Definitely fell.
She even makes reference to the fact that it's not deep there.
Yeah. And the fusion bombs ripped the hole open in the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree to a degree when it comes to her path to the throne, but I think this is very much a come to Jesus moment for her in their culture. I mean, to her, the Mandalorian culture has always been about show. She was part of the royal family. You know, she didn't disappoint her dad, and the princess did well, and these were our subjects. But you really see a bit of a transition after she sees the mythosaur. She repeats, "This is the way."
Yeah.
When she is confirmed that after bathing in the living waters, that she is a Mandalorian once more. She has been redeemed by Kree, and until she removes her helmet, she's instantly one of them. Now, this is huge. I'm sorry if I'm going to steal what you're going to.
No. Let's just
But
dive
there
right into
is a
Bo-Katan.
long line of battling and fighting and war and bickering between House Krees and oh my God, what's the damn name? Vizsla, thank you. Between House Vizsla and House Krees, and you have a member of House Vizsla there. The big guy holding the massive gun is a descendant of House Vizsla, who lost the hand-to-hand combat to Mando.
That's Jon Favreau, eh? Paz Vizsla.
Yeah, I'll be damned. So
well, remember, Bo-Katan did work for Pre-Vizsla, though. Like, they were on the same team.
Mm-hmm. Woo! Pardon me. But this is instantly a, hey, by Kree, it doesn't matter what these battles have been. You've bathed in the living waters by what we live by. You are now one of us. Like, there is instant acceptance here. So the real question is, does she take her helmet off?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a cool moment because she's done everything Mando did, and she gets the the redemption as well.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting because they said you could leave whenever you want, take your helmet off and just leave. Like you're not going to be hurt. Like we're not going to hunt you down or kill you. It's just you're accepted. You're one of us, or you take it off. You can leave, do whatever you want. So we talked about last week. She kind of not really had a religious experience, but all of her beliefs kind of went up in flame when she saw the mythosaur, right? So, like you said, allude to, she starts saying this is the way. Now she's redeemed. It'll be interesting to see how much farther she takes it, because
this was really
it's really uncharted territory
part of the
for her.
Story is like it's all about purpose. She had no purpose.
So she's literally
given her purpose.
Yeah. So she's probably literally going to think about it for a while, right? Because everything she believed in is now questioned. All the tales of the original Mandalorian and how he tamed the mythosaur are all potentially real now. And it's like, was her and her family, we talked about last week, by them not following the old ways and got, is that why Mandalore fell to the Empire? Had they been following the armor and everyone else, would Mandalore have even fallen in the beginning, right? So I'm assuming she's questioning all that. But like we said earlier, she's keeping that mythosaur in her back pocket, I think, because if she can tame it, that's her key to the throne, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so cool little moment there. They're hiding out in the covert. So back to the ship battles we got.
So those interceptors are so cool.
Yeah. So just a very cool scene in general. I love all the spaceship. If you want me to nitpick, it's because Mando used the exact same maneuver that he did in Chapter 12, The Siege. The whole fly straight up in the air, cut the engines, point down and shoot. Like he's already done that once. So I wish they would have came up with another creative thing he could have did. But hey, if that's his go, I don't know. If you're a fighter pilot, I don't know if you got to go to, you do it.
Yeah, he also gave her a cool moment. That little flip around for her takeout at the end was kind of fantastic.
/fin up. Yeah.
That
was cool. And then my only, again, this is extreme nitpicking. Like I am so happy we finally got not only a little bit of a ship battle, but a lengthy ship battle.
For sure.
With the interceptors, Gauntlet Starfighters. But my only other thing is they didn't really get hurt at all. And at the end, they're like, "You okay?" She's like, "Yeah, just little shields." Yeah, not a scratch. So I was like, okay, if a swarm of interceptors was coming at you like that, But on the flip side, they did distract them long enough for the bombers to come in and completely annihilate her castle.
And that
So
was
there
really
was
the
damage
plan.
done.
Yeah.
There was damage done. So the final thought on this, and it's going to tie into the end of the episode as well, I'm going to bring up is, she mentions that's a lot of ships for a warlord, right? Obviously, it's not a warlord. It's likely Thrawn, right? Like Moff Gideon's cruiser, his light cruiser, for example, could not hold a fleet of fighters like that, like a squadron of that many fighters. So it's got to be, there's at least an ISD. Well, Thrawn always had an ISD 1 in Rebels, but I'd love to think he'd upgrade to an ISD 2 by now. But, and, the only thing I wish we would have saw a little bit more is like those ships can't get to where they are by themselves, right? That Star Destroyer had to have been in the area. But we don't.
So you're thinking Thrawn right off the bat here, because
I think.
And do you think that relates to? Do you think that relates to the other part of the story? Because I can't figure out how these two stories are tied in, and that communications officer.
Yeah. So let's just dive right in there. So we'll skip all the middle
stunt double for Justin Bieber.
Yeah. So we catch up with, I don't know her name, but the communications officer. Kane. Was it Kane?
Elia Kane, or Elijah Kane, or Aaliyah Kane. Yeah.
So here's my thoughts on it. Here's my thoughts on that. Did you?
Okay. Yeah. I always do, because you're so much better with people's names, and Disney's subtitles. Humble confession for anyone that watches this: Disney's subtitles do a really good job of identifying people.
They do, yeah. So even if they don't mention their name, it'll show their name / title. Yeah. So Kane, the communications officer, to me, she came off at the end of season 2 of Mando as kind of like a real menacing look on her face. It looked like she was really loyal to Gideon's cause.
Yep.
And she's obviously playing a game, right? Because she's obviously seduces Pershing into doing something, entrapping him. And I think the ultimate goal there was obviously to wipe his memories completely so that the New Republic does not know what he was working on. Yeah. And with Gideon, I can't remember what they said he's in. He's obviously in prison, but I can't help but feel maybe she was like one of Thrawn's, what did the guy from Game of Thrones call him? His little birds.
Little birds.
Yeah, Varys. Yep. I can't help but feel like she's one of Thrawn's little birds, right? Like she's stationed with Gideon, working with him, but she kind of reports a second report out to her other, proper leader, right?
And I mean, she played that brilliant. But as soon as I saw her, I recognized her. I was like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, I was waiting for her to start like being aligned with Pershing and doing stuff with him. Instead, I didn't catch the flip of her actually, entrapping him like that and setting him up.
I thought she was going to I thought she was going to assassinate him.
Yeah, like, is she getting in the good graces of the New Republic to work her way up and get a little more power and freedom? Yeah. Right. He even says, I wish for every one of you, we got someone who fails the program.
Yep.
So there's some sort of dynamic going on between her, Gideon, and I think at this point Thrawn's involved. They wouldn't have Bo-Katan say that's a lot of ship for just a warlord, like question that fleet if it wasn't something bigger.
That's a valid point.
You know what I mean? Like like Gideon was a warlord. They're not just going to introduce a second Gideon level warlord, right? It's got to be Thrawn, knowing that we're working towards Thrawn and Ahsoka. Like Gideon only had a couple TIE fighters, man. Like this was a squadron of interceptors. Like you'd think that those are,
you're traveling heavy if you have
the budget's been upped, and they had bombers too, right? So like that's a complement of a Star Destroyer. So like I said, there's got to be a fully operational Star Destroyer somewhere in the area. Yeah. Which to me, even if it's not Thrawn, it's someone who's directly in ties with Thrawn.
They're definitely going to be introducing him directly or indirectly. So,
and you know what I thought? I thought when they were on the Star Destroyer, like the scrap one, with her being communications officer, I thought there was going to be some scene where she fires up a communication to like a Thrawn-like character, but no, it was just all set up. Yeah. So other than that, so we get a lot in the middle. We get this real slow period in Coruscant. I've seen people comparing it to Andor, like Mandos was going all Andor on this one.
Yeah, but it
But
was nice to see Coruscant. Like, you know, one of the things that you and I talk about is getting to see these places that
yeah,
we haven't got to at certain periods of time. And I really liked seeing a thriving Andor. I really liked seeing, Coruscant,
Coruscant, yeah,
Coruscant in this time. And you know, I always hesitate to bring up this point of view because of what happened on your channel that one night we were talking about The Last Jedi. But as you see
the fight
them,
works.
yeah, as you see them put in their own processes and you see people's name disappear and you see them being called by number, you cannot help but draw equivalencies between them and the Empire.
Yeah,
Like you can't help but draw those conclusions, talking about the boundaries that they have, not calling them by name. I mean,
yeah,
I
they're
think
like
it
it's
shows
a
that line is blurred.
yeah, and they're essentially they're just mentally trying to rehabilitate them and like beat the Empire out of them, right? But they're doing it a different way, not physically like say the Empire would, but they're yeah, you
Right, but
assign a number, you have a basic job, you live in a
the
camp
mind
with everyone the
flayers,
same. Yeah,
like
mind flayers.
there are
Um,
similarities there. And
yep.
I think that they do that on purpose. Again,
And
it's
the
to
other
show that
thing,
not
yeah,
everything good is totally good.
yeah. And you like to hype on the gray characters. It's interesting that they're like, these are just people who were caught up with the Empire and really didn't have a choice.
That was also part of
So
that
yeah,
conversation,
so
right?
it's like
Yeah.
let's give them an opportunity to do something positive for the New
Mm-hmm.
Republic.
Yep.
So I like all that. I do have a gripe, and this like I find the stupidest gripes that I feel like lots of people don't even would notice or even think about or care about.
Okay.
But for some reason, Coruscant felt. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the word I wrote for it. Like empty. Like I can watching Coruscant on these scenes versus say Andor or Revenge of the Sith. Um,
It lacked a buzz.
it was very like and like where my mind went to immediately. I can tell this was all filmed on the volume. I can tell it's just two people walking side by side, and everything is just cast on the wall beside it. It really lacked that really fulfillness that you got from like bigger sets.
Yeah.
And to me, I really noticed it. It was very quiet and it just felt kind of empty. Even though Coruscant is so grand and so buzzing and big, it felt very that's the only way I could describe it. It felt like it was, I don't know, missing its soul. Is that a weird
Yeah.
thing to say?
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah.
like it was missing a
It
little
just had no
something.
buzz. It had no
Yeah.
it had no soul. That's a great way to
Yeah.
describe it.
Like I appreciate the little places they're going to at shops and doing like all these little things on what little people would do, but it was just missing something for me, which I thought was unfortunate. And again, I think that's a Lucasfilm thing, right? You invest a lot of money in the volume and the technology, you want to
Yeah.
use it,
Of
but for
course.
scenes on Coruscant, I don't think it worked as good as it should have. Whereas Andor didn't use the volume; they were like built sets and like they're still obviously green
Shot on
screen,
location. Yeah.
but it still felt a lot more, like the spaceport in Andor on Coruscant. Like that's
Mhm.
actually that, like, I don't know if it was a car dealership or whatever it was, but it's a place in Europe someone went to and you could
Yep.
see it and everything like that, right? Like it was actually like lived in places.
Mhm.
But that's my gripe about that. What else did I have? So he talks about his cloning, which I thought was odd because he talks about cloning from a single strand, but what he did was take two strands and try to combine them together to get the best attributes. And I'm just like, isn't that just like, I don't know, like in vitro fertilization? Essentially, I
don't know.
like essentially you're not necessarily, okay, let me reframe that. You're not necessarily cloning somebody, you're making a new somebody, right?
Well,
If you're
he did it because he
combining,
wanted to save his mother by creating a new heart.
yeah. So like he could choose, we want someone who has the best genetics for a strong heart with no potential conditions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, like when he was explaining what he was working on, you know, like, cloning, like lots of people think this is going to lead into Palpatine and Snoke, right?
100%.
But cloning Palpatine, but if you're adding someone else's DNA to it, like that's the part that I was like surprised by.
Mhm.
A surprise. Are they giving him enhancements? Like if it does lead to Palpatine, like we don't even know if it does, but if it did, like it was then Palpatine the sequel trilogy, not 100% Palpatine. I don't know. I might be going too far down the rabbit hole, but I thought it was
Oh no,
interesting. He was talking about,
I think Palpatine was always 100% Palpatine. I
yeah,
think that the Snokes and anything else you see between now and the sequel trilogy is going to be their attempts
yeah,
at clone. Like I think I hope this answers the question of Snoke. Because as you know, you and I sit differently on the sequel trilogy. I enjoyed them for what they were. But the one thing that's always driven me nuts is like, who the hell was Snoke? How did that happen? Like, it's like someone just gave up 3/4 of the way through physically. So it'd be neat
JJ.
down the road. It'd be neat down the road to get the answer. Like he was a cloned Sith or something like that. It'd be great to get that answer because it would make me feel way better about the entire character.
Yeah, like what was like the source sample for Snoke,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Was he the attempt? Was he the first successful attempt?
Yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff there. Even though I do have a degree in biological sciences and have taken courses similar to stuff,
Yeah,
it is so far long ago and sci-fi is so made up. Yeah,
you're
it is
basically
what it is.
Cliff on a bus
Yeah.
in Shang-Chi. I once took a self-defense class. I'm going to break this down a little bit. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to hop in the comments and let us know what they think is going on with the cloning and why Pershing's
Mhm.
method with 2 different strands, what the implications of that is, by
And
all
what's the
means.
benefit of frying them?
Huh?
What's the benefit of having her fry him at the end?
Yeah, so he can't give up what he was working on.
Oh, I thought that might make him dumb.
Well, it might, but
Yeah, at that
he's
point they'd
losing
zapped him, right?
he's losing all his memory, right? So he will not be able to tell the New Republic what he did for Gideon.
Got it.
Mind you, at this point in stage, before he even re-enters his amnesty program, you think they would have interrogated the hell out of him, right?
You would think so. That's what I
Like,
mean.
wouldn't
There
he
are
already have everything?
similarities to the New Republic
Yeah.
and the Empire.
So you would think he has given everything up already. So
Mhm.
why is she then frying his brain is a good point. Is it
Yeah.
because she doesn't want him to do work but the New Republic has that work outlawed. He can't even do it for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's a few like that's again like we'll get like when we get to our scoring. There's a
Yeah.
few like what the
Yeah.
moments plot wise that didn't all hit
Yep.
for me. And the other thing too I thought was funny is they let Pershing make this huge speech about cloning and saving his mom's heart,
Yeah.
but cloning's not legal.
Yeah.
Like why you letting him do a speech in front of everyone about
Yeah.
it? Like it was odd. Right. That's all I got. That's all
All
I
right.
got for this week. What do you got?
All right.
You got anything other comments?
Nope.
You want to score
No,
this?
that's it. Yeah, let's score it.
All right. I think I'm an 8. I'm an 8.
I
Like,
am also an 8.
okay.
I liked
love
it. I think
Yeah.
that needed to be 2 episodes. I really liked what they did with Pershing and Kane, but that
Yeah.
needed to be its own 40-minute episode. I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I love the dynamic. I love the other amnesty people. I love the talking about the things that they missed,
Mhm.
but they tried to do too much at once, which again, I realize that's a hard gripe considering we've sat through some slower, some maybe less than spectacular properties. But again, that whole thing with Mando and Bo-Katan could have been its own episode. Like I will follow
Yeah.
that story for an entire show. So I saw what they were trying to do. It's not that I didn't like it. 8 is still a great score, but
Yeah. No, I hear you. And that's been the theme so far this season. Fast pace, balls to
Mhm.
the wall. Let's go.
yeah.
Even though some people would probably disagree with us saying that this was a slower episode.
Mhm.
But that was the pace of stuff on Coruscant. You had to have that slow build. Like that wasn't going to be action heavy by any means.
No.
You still got a little espionage, double
Yep.
crossing spy action going on, right?
Yep.
But yeah, interesting things going on. I don't know what direction they're going with that Coruscant stuff with Pershing and what'd you say your name was again?
Kane.
Kane. I don't know. Again, my guess is
Communications Officer Kane.
Yeah, my whole thing is I think she's tied into Thrawn somehow. That would be my guess.
Bad Batch.
So, interesting episode.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm crunching my neck here.
It did not. So Bad Batch did not really pick up with the overall thread that we had been running on, but
And
maybe
I wasn't upset about it.
Yeah, and maybe it did technically, but like inadvertently. But we so essentially they're back with the treasure hunter. They do a deal with her and she takes them to this planet Pabu, which is like basically one large Greek island.
Yeah, and, it's like the Maldives.
Yeah, and it looks to them like a paradise for people who don't want to be found. So the whole hinting the whole time is like, Omega hasn't had a friend, which is true. She could play with kids here. She could do this here. So obviously they're trying to get them to just give it up and stay there. We get some big news, but didn't really see it. Like we've spent a lot of time and a lot of gripes about Sid, and we get her again this episode, but magically they've cut ties with her and now are on the run from Sid, which how do you not put that on screen? Like we have to deal with Sid so much. You can at least show us telling her off. Like,
yeah, I'm so glad to see the move away from Sid.
Yeah.
So glad. So happy. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the first thing they do without Sid, they complete their mission. They get this artifact and we learn about Fee that she's not
and they get the money.
Pirate.
They keep the money too.
Yeah, she's not a pirate. Like she's literally getting these artifacts for like refugees' home worlds. Like that's amazing.
Yeah. So again, the planet Pabu, I thought looked incredible the way they had set up. I wanted to move there. They're eating sushi,
killing it. Wrecker is full. He can't remember last time.
Crushing the
full.
sushi.
Hey, I'm full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omega gets to go off and play and be a kid, and then we get the tremors and the earthquake and the tsunami. So we get a cool little scene of them trying to save all the civilians and everything like that, which happens. And then I thought, that was going to be we were going to say yes, but your whole planet got wiped out. So now we got to move on. But they actually ask if they can stay and help to rebuild. And that's where it kind of ends. Yep. Were you surprised by that?
No, I think that they've been entrapped by Sid for so long they felt like they had to go mission to mission. They've never been offered something with nothing of expectation in return. Yeah. And this is the first time that they're welcomed somewhere with no strings. They don't have to do anything. Now there's a situation where they help get everyone to safe and they are choosing to help. And I think that for that reason, I loved this episode because this, as long as they don't screw this up next week, there's a huge transition because it's about making home somewhere. It's about being somewhere and contributing because you want to, not because you have to, not because you need to earn your keep. It's you are welcomed here. And you start to have a life. I mean, I thought it was so well done. And what is with Fee and Tech?
Yeah.
There's
something.
Yeah, there is something.
What did he say? What did Wrecker say? Something about competition or something like that?
Yeah.
When he said that, I was like,
jabs at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But to your happy sentiment, it's not going to last because you know why? Because we know the Mount Tantus Empire Imperial forces are looking for them, right?
Yeah.
They have Crosshair, which we don't know what they're going to do yet, but he's repurposed to use to go find them.
Yep.
But now they've introduced the way they're going to get found, and that is because they've pissed off Sid. I can't help but feel the Empire is now going to use Sid for information on how to, mind you, Sid's never been to this place.
No.
But
But
you
she'll
got,
figure it out.
but yeah, exactly. You got multiple people now looking for them, and I think Sid's going to be involved with them being found out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so I think we will get to see Sid one more time,
And it won't be positive.
Yeah, but no, I think that's what I mean. It inadvertently set up the plot line that has been moving forward. So I think they're going to be here, and Omega, potentially gets taken, right? Because that's the one they want.
Yeah. All in all, though, I thought it was, it was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, like we talk about how like lots of the one-offs are boring. It's Sid gives them a job, they fail, they lose, they go. This is a one-off.
But it's a great one-off.
It's a totally different vibe and story, and it fits way better.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you want to score it? What are you feeling?
Oh,
I'm excited to score it. I'm going to go first.
Okay, yeah, go first.
It'll be the only time in history where Bad Batch will get a higher rating than The Mandalorian. I'm going to give this an 8.2 to my Mando 8.0 because I really enjoyed the wholesomeness of this episode. I really enjoyed how it moved the story forward. I really enjoyed, again, the transition of you are welcome here no matter what. You don't have to go and steal shit. You don't have to go and rob Dooku's castle or do anything ridiculous that puts your life in danger. You're welcome to here, and we would love you to help. Like, that's it. I loved it. 8.2, solid episode.
Yeah, I'm just 8s across the board. So I'm on equal footing this week with 2 episodes. Mind you, yes, Mando had the more exciting scenes, like the space stuff, fantastic. But story, plotline, development, stuff like that, I thought Bad Batch did just as good of a job.
Yeah.
I guess that's the difference. Mando could have been a lot greater. I had a few gripes, whereas Bad Batch, I didn't really have any gripes. It was just a solid episode.
I agree.
It wasn't the most spectacular one, but it was solid start to end.
Yep.
So I think that will do it for us on this Mando Wednesday. And let me just check some real quick.
Yeah, I checked this director's background for Mando, by the way.
Oh yeah.
He's done nothing.
Nothing. I don't want to call them nobodies, but another person with not much history.
He got an Academy nod from Minari in 2020.
Yeah.
And that's it, unless you've watched a lot of Lucky Life or Abigail Harm or Sex and Coffee or Lost Coyotes. They were a cinematographer on Abigail Harm. I have seen My Last Born, Sex and Coffee. Nothing.
No, interesting. They did cinematography too, because the last director had a big history in being a cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I see like space battles and dogfights, I'm looking for like good in cockpit banter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily banter, like smart in cockpit speaking and talking to each other, which this had. And I appreciate like really good, like I love like new camera angles and like different camera angles.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had a ton of like on the wing looking at the cockpit, right behind the ship, which I love.
Yeah, it was good and different.
Yeah, they had like obviously your classic, not necessarily a trench run, but going through a narrow canyon. Like you said, they had that cool, they utilized that gauntlet starfighter in a way we haven't seen before, where they flip one fin to do a 180 spin essentially.
It was
and then a nod throwback to the classics, right? Like we get the whole Admiral Akbar, it's a trap with the swarm of TIE interceptors coming right for their face. We get that. Bo's chasing them into the clouds, and then all of a sudden Mando's, I love his radar just pings like crazy. Like we gotta go. And this whole swarm comes at him. So just very well done. Especially for someone who's not necessarily a first-time director, but a fairly green director, to handle an IP like this and pull shots like that off, very well done.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right. So we will not see you Monday.
Nope. We'll be back here a week from now.
Back here next Wednesday.
Yeah, for another double dip.
Absolutely.
Right. Everyone, let us know in the comments. Did we miss anything significant? What you thought of our review, how you thought these episodes were, and we'll see you all next week. Peace out.
Cheers.